Dr. Ho Chi Lin, Nick Buxton, Mark Ackerman, Deborah Burton, Wendella de Vries. NATO's target spending 2% of GDP on the military will accelerate climate collapse by diverting billions of dollars away from climate finance and increasing greenhouse gas emissions. This year alone, NATO members spent $1.26 trillion on their militaries. This report shows that this could pay for 12 years of promised and still undelivered climate finance to help poor countries deal with the climate crisis. And over the next 5 years, if NATO members increase spending to 2% of GDP, $2.57 trillion will be earmarked for climate spending by 2028. This would be enough to cover the climate adaptation costs of all low and middle-income countries. Executive summary: climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts are chronically underfunded by billions of dollars, deepening the climate crisis and its impacts on citizens around the world. This has made finance one of most contentious issues at annual United Nations climate summits, with the richest countries bearing most responsibility for crisis failing to deliver on even limited financing promises to those facing its harshest consequences. At the same time, the richest and most carbon-polluting countries are also increasing their military spending. Global military spending reached a record high of $2.24 trillion. More than half of this has been spent by NATO's 31 member states, and budgets are expected to increase significantly over the next few years. This briefing examines impact. 1. Key drivers: increased global military spending. NATO's goal for all member states to spend at least 2% their gross domestic product on military and related target. At least 2.20% of equipment expenses. It looks at target's history, how it drives military spending, its effects on greenhouse gas emissions, its likely overall financial and ecological impact over the next decade, and arms industry that will profit from it. NATO's target quickly became a reference point for military spending. But as this briefing shows, the goal has no clear methodological basis. Set in 2006, before Russia's first invasion of Ukraine in 2014, the film is now properly defended against the Russian threat. Clearly, Russia has a history of military interventions, particularly against neighboring countries such as Ukraine and Georgia. But even before the 2% target was met, in 2021 NATO's 31 member states spent more than 16 times more than Russia and its allies on the Collective Security Treaty Organization and Tajikistan. Still, target has gained broad momentum, and the NATO Secretary-General now presents it as minimum required for military spending by NATO and its allies. The gap between NATO's target and that of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which recommends that all nations reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 43% by 2030 to keep global average temperature increases below 1.5 degrees Celsius, is even starker than that. It couldn't happen. The IPCC target is based